I think I messed up. Did I just travel back in time? Imagine the confusion and excitement of finding yourself in a completely different era. The sights, the sounds, the smells, everything would be so foreign and fascinating. You'd be surrounded by people in medieval attire, speaking in old dialects and going about their daily lives in ways that are both strange and intriguing to us today. To November 11th, 1111 at 11 o'clock, let's find out. This date sounds almost too perfect, like something out of a fantasy novel. The alignment of all those ones is just begging for a story to be told. But what was life really like back then? What kind of world would you be stepping into if you could actually travel to that exact moment in time? So November 11th, 1111 at 11 o'clock sounds like an epic date, right? It's the kind of date that makes you think something monumental must have happened. Maybe a great battle, a royal decree, or the discovery of some ancient treasure. The symmetry of the numbers alone makes it feel significant, like the universe was aligning for something extraordinary. Picture it, knights in shining armor, medieval castles, and maybe a dragon or two. The medieval period is often romanticized in our imaginations. We think of grand tournaments, heroic quests, and mythical creatures. It's a time that seems ripe for adventure and mystery, where every corner of a castle could hide a secret and every forest could be home to magical beings. Well, hate to break it to you, but the reality was a bit more mundane. Most people were peasants, working the land from dawn till dusk. Their lives were hard, filled with toil and struggle. They didn't have the luxury of knights and dragons. Their concerns were more about survival and making it through the harsh winters. Surprisingly, there are no epic battles or legendary tales tied to this date. Despite the allure of the date, historians haven't found any records of significant events happening on November 11th, 1111. No great wars, no groundbreaking discoveries, no royal proclamations. It seems like it was just another day in the medieval calendar. Historians haven't found any record of a massive event, so what gives? It's a bit of a letdown, isn't it? You'd expect such a unique date to have some kind of historical significance, but sometimes history doesn't play out the way we expect. The lack of records could mean that nothing noteworthy happened, or it could mean that whatever did happen wasn't deemed important enough to document. Well, the early 12th century was pretty chill, relatively speaking. Compared to other periods in history, the early 1100s were relatively peaceful. There were no major wars or plagues, and life for most people was about maintaining their daily routines. It was a time of slow but steady progress, with small advancements in agriculture and trade. People were busy with the Middle Ages grind, farming, building, and, occasionally, a good old-fashioned joust. Life was all about hard work and community. People relied on each other to get through the day, whether it was working the fields, building structures, or participating in local events like jousts and fairs. These activities brought people together and provided a sense of normalcy and stability. But here's a twist. Just because there are no grand historical events tied to this date doesn't mean it wasn't special in its own way. Sometimes the most interesting stories are the ones that aren't recorded in history books. They are the personal moments, the small victories, and the everyday experiences that make life rich and meaningful. In some cultures, the number one is seen as a symbol of new beginnings. The alignment of all those ones could have been seen as a powerful omen, a sign that something new and wonderful was about to begin. It's fascinating to think about how people in different cultures and times interpreted numbers and dates, finding meaning and significance in ways that are different from our own. So maybe November 11th, 1111 at 11 o'clock was just a mega lucky time for someone back in the day. Perhaps it was a day of personal significance for someone, a wedding, a birth, or a moment of inspiration. These are the kinds of events that don't always make it into the history books, but are incredibly important to the people who experience them. So, while we don't have a blockbuster story, it's fun to imagine what could have happened. The beauty of history is that it's full of possibilities. Even if we don't have concrete records, we can still use our imaginations to fill in the gaps. What if a great inventor had a breakthrough on that day, or a poet wrote a masterpiece? The possibilities are endless. Maybe someone baked the first ever pie or invented a medieval fidget spinner. Who knows? The small, everyday innovations and creations are just as important as the big historical events. They shape our culture and our daily lives in ways that are often overlooked. So, While November 11th, 1111 might not have been a day of grand historical significance, it could have been a day of small but meaningful moments. Got other mysterious dates you're curious about? History is full of intriguing dates and events that spark our curiosity. If there's a particular date or event you're interested in, let us know. We love diving into the mysteries of the past and uncovering the stories that have been forgotten or overlooked. Drop them in the comments and let's unravel history together. Your questions and curiosity help guide our explorations. By sharing your thoughts and ideas, we can work together to uncover the hidden gems of history and bring them to light. So don't be shy, let us know what you're curious about and we'll do our best to find the answers. See you next time, mystery lovers. Until then, keep wondering, keep exploring, and keep the spirit of curiosity alive. There's always more to discover, and who knows what fascinating stories we'll uncover next. Oh, and about the weather on November 11th, 1111 at 11. It was a mix of rain and wind, adding a touch of drama to an otherwise ordinary day. Imagine the medieval villagers braving the elements, their cloaks flapping in the wind as they went about their daily tasks. The weather might not have been recorded in history books, but it certainly added to the atmosphere of the time. The history of humanity is a vast and intricate tale that spans millions of years. From the earliest hominids who walked the earth to the rise of civilizations, humanity's journey is marked by innovation, conflict, and progress. Imagine the first steps of our ancient ancestors. These early hominids, like Australopithecus, roamed the plains of Africa millions of years ago. Their journey laid the foundation for what we would eventually become. These early beings were not just surviving, they were adapting, learning, and evolving in ways that would set the stage for the future of our species. Fast forward to the development of language. This was a game changer. Communication allowed our ancestors to share knowledge, form complex social structures, and collaborate in ways that were previously unimaginable. It was the beginning of culture, art, and the transmission of wisdom from one generation to the next. Next, we have the advent of agriculture. This pivotal moment in history transformed nomadic hunter-gatherers into settled farmers. The ability to cultivate crops and domesticate animals led to the rise of permanent settlements and the birth of civilizations. It was a revolution that changed the course of human history, laying the groundwork for cities, trade, and the complex societies we live in today. The rise and fall of empires is another key milestone. From the grandeur of ancient Egypt to the might of the Roman Empire, these civilizations left an indelible mark on history. They built monumental structures, developed sophisticated governance systems, and made advancements in art, science, and technology. But like all things, they too faced decline and eventual collapse, reminding us of the impermanence of even the greatest achievements. Finally, we reach the technological advancements that have brought us to the modern age. The Industrial Revolution, the invention of the internet, and the exploration of space are just a few examples of how far we've come. These innovations have not only changed the way we live, but have also expanded our understanding of the universe and our place within it. As we reflect on these key milestones, it's clear that humanity's journey is one of constant evolution and discovery. Each step, each innovation, and each challenge has shaped who we are today, and while the future remains uncertain, our past provides a roadmap of resilience, ingenuity, and progress. Stay tuned as we continue to explore the fascinating chapters of our history. So, from the ancient wonders to the technological marvels of today, there's always more to uncover and learn. But many years later, we know more about ourselves and that the origin of humanity was in Ethiopia. To learn more about interesting stories, subscribe, like, share, and comment on the YouTube channel Meerkomma. See you next time, history enthusiasts.